What up, Hyperchange? Welcome to another episode. Today I got a book review for you guys. We're talking about Professor Scott Galloway's The Four Horsemen, the hidden DNA of Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google. This, in my opinion, was one of the best books that came out in 2017. It's a New York Times bestseller. Scott Galloway is professor of marketing at NYU's Stern School of Business, my alma mater. And he also has an incredibly awesome YouTube show and YouTube channel called L2, which is a part of a research firm that he founded that was sold to Gartner. I think Scott Galloway is more in touch with what's happening in tech than almost any other analyst I've seen. You should definitely follow him on Twitter. You should definitely subscribe to his YouTube show. But anyway, let's get right into the book. The Four Horsemen takes a deep look at Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google and tries to understand whether they're good for society or not. These firms have combined a market capitalization of $2.3 trillion. That is equivalent to the GDP of France. The amount of wealth and power that has been accumulated by these private firms is almost unprecedented, and it doesn't look like anything is stopping them. So Scott Galloway takes a deep dive at each of these four companies and analyzes why they have been so successful in today's digital era. Amazon is a company that he takes a lot of shots at. The company has never made a profit and has therefore never paid any taxes. So now we have a company that's worth $500 billion, one of the most valuable firms on the planet that has yet to pay any corporate taxes. Is this good or bad? I mean, I don't think this is capitalism functioning properly. Additionally, where is this vision that Jeff Bezos is creating headed? Does he really just want us sitting on our couch all day, just consuming, buying more and more things online? It seems like everything that Amazon does is just making it easier to consume. Is this really the vision and kind of future that we want to live in? What's crazy about Amazon, and Scott Galloway mentions this, is the amount of industries that they're tackling is absurd, and the company is a financial arbitrage machine. The fact that they never have to make a profit is an inherent financial arbitrage that no other of their competitors have. If you're a company like Walmart, they tried to increase their capex to build out the infrastructure to be able to compete with Amazon on delivery speeds for e-commerce, their stock's getting hit. Amazon doesn't have to deal with any of this. Walmart has a history of producing positive GAAP earnings. They have a dividend to pay out to shareholders. These are obligations that Amazon doesn't have, and means they can make much lower margins on the products they're selling to you and me. This is why they're almost impossible to compete with. I mean, we've never seen anything like this in the history of business. The amount of access to unlimited, nearly free capital for Jeff Bezos is insane. And, he thinks that Amazon is going to be able to go to $1 trillion. He thinks that eventually the government may be able to break up the company. I mean, just so many fascinating insights into Amazon as a company. I'm just scratching the surface. Facebook. He thinks that Facebook represents love. One really interesting stat that he brings up is that according to Scott Galloway, I don't know what research is behind this, the more people you love is directly correlated to how long you live. And I kind of believe that on kind of like a meta philosophical level, but I just think it's really interesting to view Facebook as love, as a way to engage with your community, meet people, connect with people, share and be compassionate about people. The kind of broader level that he takes on Facebook is that these firms in Silicon Valley are generating so much excess wealth for their employees, which are only a very, very small people. And this goes into the broader thesis of the book and kind of where he sees the global economy going, where America is going to be a land of, 3 million elites and 350 million peasants or something like that. And these are kind of the issues that Facebook is exacerbating. Another thing about the dark side of Facebook is that how the company refuses to police the content it has and refuses to claim itself as a media company when they really are. Facebook tries to spin itself as just a platform for content, but they're investing in original shows, they're buying rights to sports games. I think Scott Galloway makes a really compelling argument that Facebook should be labeled as a media company. This means they need to take on a lot more responsibility and start hiring people to be editors and to weed out fake news. It really makes you take a step back and think about all these companies and not just the good, amazing, Mark Zuckerberg's a genius, billionaire entrepreneur who's changing the world light, and see, is this actually good for society? So moving on to Google, he explains Google as representing God in the modern era. Like, he has this crazy stat that like 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 Google queries have never been asked in the history of humankind. I don't know how they got that stat. You really think about it. Like, if you're a parent who's freaking out, if you want to learn something, if you don't know the answer to anything, I'm not really that religious, but I Google everything and I trust what Google says. Our brands aren't even our favorite brands anymore. Our favorite brands are what Google and Amazon tells us our favorite brand is after we put in a search query. I don't know. Is it good or bad that Google, this artificial intelligence platform, is who we go to for all our answers now? You guys tell me. Lastly, he goes on to Apple. He thinks Apple represents luxury, kind of like sex appeal. And this is something I agree with totally. The iPhone isn't better than the Samsung anymore in terms of specifications, cameras, but it is definitely cooler. And I think he hits the nail on the head of this. Apple is migrating to being a luxury brand beyond just a consumer tech brand. That's going to give them staying power. That's why they have incredible margins. He has a great analogy that Apple has the production values of Toyota, but the margins of Ferrari, which is hitting the nail on the head. I mean, just an unbelievable job in Apple pivoting into this fashion and luxury brand. They're going even more in that direction in the long term. I see with what they're doing with the watch and eventually with smart glasses. Like, they're just going to keep becoming more and more of a fashion company. Kind of the dark side of Apple is he says, okay, they have so much cash, 200 billion plus. And I think the best idea in this entire book, maybe I'm going to make a Moonshot Monday about it, is that Apple should open a university. Education system is ripe for disruption. Scott Galloway goes all into it in his book about the cost of education, how inefficient it is. I think this is still an industry that's ripe for disruption. The brands in this space are the leading top tier Ivy League universities in Stanford, and they're living off brand. The more I thought about this, I was like, wow, Apple has the power and status as its own brand to where maybe, these institutions like Stanford and Harvard and MIT would want to partner up with them to make classes digitally available for everywhere. That's the kind of thing that could really go mainstream. Apple, embedding learning digital courses into their products, making this incredible learning experience through, iPads, iMacs. I think the world needs that. The last part of the book is epic. He sort of breaks down what is the algorithm for $1 trillion market cap to be one of the next horsemen. And then he even goes into a few examples of who he thinks the next potential horseman could be. Of course, I have a very strong opinion on who the fifth horseman will be. I've even tweeted this at Scott Galloway. Tesla. He has a chapter and says Tesla could definitely be there. He makes some arguments that I think are pretty weak about why they haven't had success. I'll go into those right now. He sort of goes into, Tesla trades at 9 times revenue versus Ford GM at less than 0.5 times. In April 2017, Tesla surpassed Ford in market value despite selling 80,000 cars in 2016 versus Ford's 6.7 million. They're going to the public market to do secondaries often. I just don't think he's looking at the bigger picture here. I mean, Tesla's scaled production from like 800 cars to 80,000. Now they're about to go to 500,000 and over to 1 million. I just think he should have given them more credit for the growth they've had. And then, according to his formula, going by what is a 4 horseman, I think Tesla checks all the boxes. Let me make that argument. The first one is product differentiation. This one is really simple. I think the results speak for themselves. The Model S is the best-selling plug-in in the entire US, despite being triple the price of most of its competition. It's entirely based on software. It has almost double the range of any other electric vehicle out there besides the Model X. The second is visionary capital. Of course, Tesla has visionary capital. Elon Musk has done a phenomenal job at limiting dilution, but being able to raise billions of dollars to fund an incredibly rapid expansion. One of my favorite stats is even though they've been diluting and raising all this capital, the company has gone from generating $1 in revenue per share when it IPO'd in 2010 to over $66 per share this year, and that's factoring in the dilution. So I think Tesla has proven that they have the visionary capital backing to get them through this period. The third is global reach. He thinks Tesla kind of fails here, but I would argue Tesla is killing it. The trend of sustainability and going green is transcending borders and cultures faster than anything else. We're seeing China, Paris, India all commit to stop selling diesel and gasoline cars. I don't think this is a coincidence. Tesla is already establishing it as a leader luxury item in these markets. They're going with the Apple strategy of retail stores. And this is another thing that I really wanted to mention. It's not part of the 8 check boxes for what actually makes another horseman or $1 trillion company, but Scott Galloway talks a lot about the idea of analog moats. These digital companies are building real world moats to extend their competitive advantage. Tesla, to me, is building out the most impressive analog moats of any company that I can think of right now, especially given how young and new they are and kind of early in their business model. They have the supercharger network. They built out a global network of incredibly high speed, rapid charging infrastructure. Not a single automaker has started on this plan. Beyond that, Tesla has proven that they can produce charging speeds for their cars that almost triple anything else on the market. That's taken them 5 years to build that nobody's even started on. Number 2, retail stores. Tesla has Apple-esque retail stores all over the world in some of the most wealthiest neighborhoods in the wealthiest cities. I think this is global reach. They're only starting with the super high-end luxury market, but they're getting the consumers and the mind share and the brand equity that matters. Third analog moat that Tesla's building is the world's largest battery factory, the Gigafactory. Once again, no other automaker has done any of these things. Tesla's already 3 years into building the world's not only largest factory, but also most advanced in terms of robots and software. By the time other automakers catch up and try to make these investments, not only will they be sacrificing near-term profits, but by then Tesla will be already onto its its next thing. So I just think Tesla is winning, and they're building some of the most impressive analog moats out there. Fourth factor, likability. Tesla has got this in the books. Like I said, going green, being sustainable is something that is global. It transcends culture. Think about Volkswagen, Porsche, all these auto companies who are cheating emission tests and polluting massive amounts. I don't know. I just think Tesla is so much more likable than every other auto company. They have a CEO who doesn't take a dime in salary. He's putting his life mission to transition the world off fossil fuels. I mean, if you don't like that, I don't know. Vertical integration. They have their own battery factory. They have their own production facility. Tesla's the most vertically integrated automaker out there, and they're only getting more and more vertically integrated by the day. They're buying out, some of the most advanced suppliers. There was one in Germany. There was one in Minneapolis. Tesla is as vertically integrated as it gets. 6, artificial intelligence. First of all, they are hiring some of the world's leading experts in artificial intelligence. They're building a neural network for the backbone of their self-driving technology. Yes, we're in the super early days of this, and people are probably going to tell me that Tesla's way behind everybody else, but I think Tesla is building out one of the most advanced teams for autopilot and artificial intelligence infrastructure. They're also planning on designing their own artificial intelligence chips, which are going to reduce power consumption, potentially cut out NVIDIA. So I think Tesla is clearly at the cutting edge and forefront of artificial intelligence. Accelerant. This is basically means smart people want to work there because if it's on your resume, you can get hired somewhere else. This is a no-brainer. Tesla's cutthroat. It's super intense. It's super hard to work there. But if you do well and succeed, I'd imagine there's unlimited career opportunities and doors that open. The last and 8th one is geography. And this one is pretty simple. If you're next to top tier university like Stanford, you're in Silicon Valley, this is where the smartest people in the world want to live. Tesla's doing exactly that. They're a Silicon Valley startup. They got the geography nailed. So I think this is my evidence that Tesla is the 5th horseman. They're going to be the Apple of the auto world. They're going to have Toyota-like production with Tesla-like margins, not quite Ferrari-like margins, but we are going to see Tesla be one of the most profitable automakers of all time. They're also going to be a titan in the renewable energy and battery business. In 5 years, when Scott Galloway writes his next book, it can be called The 5th Horseman. It can be all about Tesla, and you can say you heard it here first. One last thing, I know I'm cutting out, there's just too long a review. Airbnb is another company that Scott Galloway mentions as a potential 5th horseman. I love Airbnb. I think Brian Chesky is an unbelievable visionary founder. They have a massive moat in the fact that you would need to build a global network of places to stay to compete with Airbnb. No one is even close to this. Scott Galloway's biggest beef with the company, or reason why he doesn't think that they're going to take off, is that they haven't been able to vertically integrate yet. Yet, I was checking in the news and Airbnb is already setting up its own apartment buildings. This is huge. We even put out a Moonshot Monday that said they should merge with an airline to not only IPO, but raise billions and vertically integrate by having their own airport terminal that they control the entire travel experience around. So I think Airbnb will vertically integrate. They're already heading in that direction. They are my number 2 pick for who the 5th horseman could be behind Tesla. Okay, that kind of wraps it up. I love this book overall. Scott Galloway is an incredible thought leader. I definitely was a little bit skeptical of how negative of a take he has on some of these tech giants, but he makes a ton of valid points that make me think of these companies in a new way. So thank you, Scott. That was awesome. I will say also, if you watch his content and his videos, it will be a little bit repetitive. A lot of the things in the book, he's already said on his YouTube channel and his TED Talk and other talks like that. So that was a little bit of frustrating for me because I watched so much Scott Galloway already that I'd already heard a lot of the ideas, but hey, that is what it is. I think if you're into tech, if you want to learn more about the 4 horsemen, $2.3 trillion in market cap, they're influencing our world and gaining more power by the day, there is not a better way to do it than check out this book. I cannot recommend it highly enough. 5 out of 5 stars. This is Hyperchange. I will see you guys next time. Peace.